Hello there YouTube, it's your boy 3 back with another kicking graphic novel review. Today we're looking at Avengers X-Men Utopia, also known as Dark Avengers Uncanny X-Men Utopia. This is a book that I should have reviewed forever ago. Some of the first comic reviews I ever did on this channel were of, or the first graphic novel reviews I suppose, were of Dark Avengers, the OG Dark Avengers with Norman Osborn and stuff, and Siege, leading into Siege. And I never did this crossover with X-Men. I just never did it. And now we're doing it. Let me read you the back of the book, rated T for teen, from Marvel. Norman Osborn runs the Avengers, promising America a new day of safety and security. Cyclops leads the X-Men, determined to free mutant kind from the forces of cold, impersonal, unreasoning, institutional racism that threaten them. Both leaders are locked in a high-stakes chess match, with the prize being their respective visions of Utopia, and Emma Frost, the one piece that could make either the winner. But which side of the board is she on? Plus, who are the Dark X-Men? Find out secrets behind the uncanny assemblage of mutants, including Cloak, Dagger, Daken, and Namor the Submariner. I know that lineup is probably a little confusing, but we will talk about it. So this is from Marvel's fascist years. A lot of that post-Civil War fascism. You remember Civil War, the event where the fascists won and Marvel framed it as a good thing? Remember that? Anyway, Utopia, Avengers X-Men. It kind of starts off with Simon Trask leading all of these people on this big walk of protest where he pretends to be peaceful but kind of goads mutants into attacking him in New York so that he can have a fascism done upon them. And this is when Cyclops is dating Emma Frost, which is honestly a coupling that is odd to me. Or at least it used to be, and now, after reading this, I actually didn't have this till now. Believe it or not, this is a newer book for me. It took me forever to get it. I don't know why I waited so long. But, and now after reading this, it makes a bit more sense, and we'll talk about that later, towards the end for me. But a lot of mutants are really fighting for their rights, and a lot of this really it hits home, especially now. I'm recording this before the 2024 election here in the US, and, you know, we're waiting to see what happens with that. But also I am a member of the queer community and identify a lot with what the X-Men are doing here, for sure. For sure. Some X-Men think that a peaceful solution is best, some think a violent solution is best, and historically, no people have escaped oppression without some form of violence, but just violence won't work. And honestly, this book seems to take the stance that just peace won't work. Will I give my opinion on that? No. But we do get to see the Dark Avengers fight the Uncanny X-Men, which is really cool. We get to see Norman Osborn ask Emma Frost to lead his Dark X-Men, and she's a pretty damn good choice of leader. Emma Frost, to me, is like the most terrifying character in Marvel Comics. I don't know if you read her Devil's Reign miniseries, but dear God. Yeah, she would be the person that I would be most afraid of. There's a Charles Xavier there who sides with Norman Osborn, but it's obviously not Charles Xavier, it's Mystique. The real Charles Xavier is being experimented on by Dark Beast, who works for, you guessed it, fam, Norman Osborn. Yeah, so Norman is telling Emma Frost, he's like, yeah, you know, I'll treat the mutants well and everything, but he doesn't. He like has Dark Beast do experiments on them and wants to take away their powers, and he's trying to fool Emma into thinking he's not doing all these things, but of course Frost figures it out. Of course she does. She says she'll only lead his Dark X-Men if she can pick one of the team members, and she picks Namor the Submariner, who a lot of people forget is a mutant. I myself often forget that until I see a blue Atlantean or something, or see him interact with an X-Man. I always do forget that he's a mutant, but then when I'm reminded, I'm like, oh yeah. Other members of the team include Michael Pointer, Weapon Omega, and I believe what he does is he absorbs the energy of other mutants. And later, there's a comic about Norman recruiting him, and he seems to not want to be around other mutants because he kills them when he's around them, because he can't control absorbing their energy. But in the main story, he can control it perfectly fine. In the side story, he's like a nice, gentle guy who's just trying to, live without causing trouble. But when he's on the team, he's like a psychopath. So maybe the writers should have communicated with each other a little more there. Also, Dakin is on the team as Dark Wolverine. And you have Mimic, who has the powers of all the original X-Men, plus he can mimic the abilities of any X-Men he's around, or any mutants he's around, I mean. And then Cloak and Dagger are on the team, and I'm sure you heard me say their names earlier, and many of you might have been like, Cloak and Dagger? They're not mutants. They got their powers from drugs, which is true. But Osborn says he'll help them in their war on drugs and give them, legal protection, and they don't really have a choice. But Cloak and Dagger are real good guys, and they're not mutants, but Norman's like, the public doesn't know the difference, and he is not incorrect. The public doesn't seem to actually know the difference at all. Anyway, they fight Trask, who turns out to be some kind of cyborgy, robot-y bio-sentinel who can hypnotize people and turn them into sentinels, which the process does kill the people, which means mutants can go all out and attack them. But we do see a lot happen. Emma's like, nope, my Dark X-Men aren't going to kill anyone, at least not publicly. Cyclops won't bend a knee to Norman, which is good, because Norman is insane. I don't know if you've read Dark Avengers and everything post Secret Invasion, but dear Lord. But Cyclops is having a lot of, how do I say this? He's moving a lot of pieces on the chessboard around Norman. He's being very precise, very patient, and even makes a deal with Hela, which is pretty insane. And while playing with Norman, he kind of builds an island for mutants to live on so they can get out of Norman's jurisdiction. This isn't the first time mutants have had an island. It won't be the last time. This is pre-Krakoa, which is one of the best eras of X-Men I hear. I haven't really read it. I've read tie-ins and stuff, but X-Men is a lot to read. You know what I mean? It's a lot. But yeah, Cyborg kind of makes Osborn look like a fool, but then also Osborn goes to kill all the mutants, but there's cameras and he can't, and he tries to play it off as a win, PR-wise. Plus, we also see some cool stuff with Emma in the Sentry, which harkens back to New Avengers, which we have reviewed the entire Bendis run of on this channel. It's been a while, but we've done it. This is a good book. It's kind of long, and that's the main story of it. Emma does betray Norman and everything, as does Namor and Cloak and Dagger. And Cloak and Dagger leave, but Namor sticks around after the betrayal. It's very weird. But then there's all these tie-ins, like Dark X-Men The Confession, where both Emma Frost and Cyclops, who I keep wanting to call Cyborg for some reason, kind of confess their sins to each other, and Emma contemplates going to assassinate Norman Osborn. But this is the comic that actually made me like them as a couple. I didn't before, because I always think of Cyclops as kind of Boy Scouty, and I don't read terribly much X-Men, to be completely honest with you. At least not anymore. But, Cyclops talks about creating X-Force, the Black Ops team that, kills people for Cyclops, kills threats to mutants out of the public eye. And Emma tells him about all her secret kind of dark desires and dark dealings. And we also see Rogue, Gambit, and Danger all come and try to help with the chaos in the streets, which was enjoyable, but I didn't feel like it added too much to the overall story. You know, the story with Rogue, Gambit, and Danger is called X-Men Legacy number 226. In case anyone wants to read it, it's fine, it's good, but it's nothing like really super terribly important to the story. It's just a little bit extra that you can read, and it does kind of explain like the return of Rogue and stuff if you plan to keep reading a lot of X-Men post, Utopia. But we do get more. We get Utopia Dark Reign The Cabal, which is about Emma Frost and a lot of her stuff that she has going on with the Cabal, which includes like the Hood, Loki, Namor, Osborn, and Doom. We also get to see the Judgment of Namor, where there's this kind of biblical, in a way, hearing where he has to choose which one of these parents gets custody of a mutant child, a mutant Atlantean, and Namor decides to make him his ward because neither of the parents can be trusted with him. You have Dark X-Men, The Beginning, number 1, where Norman confronts Namor and kind of picks him apart ego-wise. We also see Dark X-Men Mimic, which I thought was really good. All the ones where Norman recruits are really good, but this one about Mimic's life, how he doesn't even really want to be a bad guy. He just kind of finds his way there no matter what. Even if he dies, he'll come back because so many mutants have the power to resurrect and his body just copies them and all these things. We see him recruit Dark Beast. He's like, look, I'm going to give you state-of-the-art technology and legal protection, and I'll let you torture and experiment on mutants. And Dark Beast is like, fuck yeah, dude. And he also sees Norman as a kindred spirit in a way, which is kind of true when you think about it. Norman just isn't as embracing of his insanity as Dark Beast is. Then there's Utopia, Dark X-Men, The Beginning number 2, which shows him recruiting Cloak and Dagger. They were burning like drug fields, and he goes to recruit them and whatnot. We see him recruit Omega or whatever his name was. I don't remember. I already forgot. We're the one who absorbed mutant energy. This is the book where I said he has a completely different personality than the main story. And it's like, why? We see one about Dakin, where he kind of outsmarts Osborn in a way, which is nice to see. I like Dakin. He's pretty cool. We have Dark X-Men, The Beginning. Which one is it? Number 3, according to my notes here. With Emma Frost in Namor's head, trying to see what he's all about and whatnot. We also see Norman recruit Mystique, which was really cool art-wise. I really liked the art of that book. It looked like Jacques almost. It was a very interesting art. I liked it quite a lot. Quite a lot, actually. Anyhow, moving on, my friends. Actually, let me check. Yep, that art was by Jacques. I knew it. We also see him try to recruit one more mutant with a lot of personalities and power from Alpha Flight. And she actually escapes him. She doesn't end up on the team, which you already know if you're reading this in order. But yeah, it also has a variant cover gallery. The Chapter 1 variant cover by Jay Lee and Jun Chung. Awesome. These variants actually kind of kill. Most of them are really good. Most of them. Some of them are kind of boring, but there's some pretty good covers here. We also get some like character art and etc. And it's a good book. The whole thing altogether is a good book. It kind of feels like a long read when you include all the small stories in the back. But I did enjoy it. I did enjoy it a good bit. I really like Norman's Dark Avengers. I think they're a really cool, interesting team. And I kind of wish their tenure would have been longer. But I suppose you can only leave supervillains in charge for so long in a comic universe, eh? Oh well. But that is it for Avengers X-Men Utopia, aka Dark Avengers Uncanny X-Men Utopia. Thank you all very much for the support. Remember to rate, comment, subscribe. Check out all the cool links in the description below, Facebook, Twitter, etc. I think the next book will probably be another Marvel, but it won't be a superhero book. And you'll know what I mean when we get to it. That's it. Thank you all once again. See y'all next time. Bye for now.